The afternoon sun slanted through the high gym windows, casting long, golden shafts onto the varnished hardwood floor. Maya Lawson stood at the foul line, bouncing the basketball with a steady rhythm that felt as natural to her as breathing. She inhaled the sharp scent of rubber and sweat, the echoes of sneakers squeaking, the murmur of teammates warming up around her. Every night since 7th grade, she had been here, perfecting her jumper until it swished through the net with mechanical precision. Tonight was no different, until it was. Coach Marshall's voice cracked over the tannoy, calling the team to the bench for the starting lineup. Maya's stomach fluttered with anticipation. This was the first home game of district play, the kind of game scouts might notice. Her jersey, number 23, felt snug and familiar. Jasmine Trent, the point guard, spun away from her drill and offered a thumbs up. "You ready?" she asked, grin wide. Maya nodded, ready to run the plays they'd spent the last 2 weeks drilling. High screen P&R, dribble handoff, baseline ISO. She had averaged 23 points a game in preseason, earned the team's MVP medal last month, and taken first place in every summer camp tournament. Nothing about tonight should have been a surprise. Instead, Coach Marshall strode over with his clipboard clutched in one hand and a stern frown creasing his brow. Maya dropped her ball, heart skipping. He looked at Jasmine, then at Maya, and said, "Jasmine, Carla, into the lineup." "Maya, take the bench." His words landed like a slap. Carla Reynolds, a junior with half Maya's scoring average, shot Maya a hopeful smile as she laced up her sneakers. Jasmine exchanged a puzzled glance with Maya. Maya's throat tightened. "Why?" she managed, voice low. Coach's jaw tightened. "Time for a tactical adjustment. Let's go." He pivoted without another glance, and the two girls jogged onto the court as the buzzer sounded. Maya remained frozen for a moment, bleeding disbelief and hurt. Then she turned and slumped onto the bench, her warm-up jacket sliding around her shoulders. The bench was a narrow plank of wood against cold cinder block walls, and she felt a million eyes on her. Teammates' sympathetic glances, parents craning forward, opponents smirking in feigned pity. As the first quarter unfolded below her, Maya watched Jasmine struggle against a fierce full-court press, and Carla hesitate at the three-point line. Whenever the ball swung to her designated spot, Maya could see its arc throbbing in her mind. The perfect pop of her release, the soft net's embrace. Instead, the shot clanged off iron, a collective groan echoing through the bleachers. Coach Marshall slapped his clipboard, barking instructions she knew by heart. Maya's stomach knotted. Her hands itched to grab that ball, to prove that she was the one who could turn this game around. By halftime, the scoreboard read 22-14 in favor of the visitors. Maya sat on the bench, towel draped across her lap, jaw clenched. She replayed every moment in her mind. The screens she should have set, the cuts she should have made, the rebounds she could have snatched. Jasmine sank 2 free throws with Maya, yelling encouragement from the sideline. But each point only highlighted what Maya should have been doing, playing. Her teammate leaned over. "We need you out there," Jasmine whispered, voice urgent. Maya nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. In the locker room, steam and tension coalesced in the humid air. Maya pressed her palm against the cool tile wall. Across the room, Coach Marshall circled his clipboard. "Second half," he said, voice flat. "Same lineup." Maya's breath hitched. She sank onto the folding bench, arms tightening around her knees. She watched as Jasmine took water and Carla adjusted her knee brace. No one else said a word, the silence thick with unspoken questions. As the buzzer sounded for the third quarter, Maya rose, pulled off her warm-up jacket, and met Coach's eyes. "Please," she said, voice strong though shaking, "let me in." He stared at her for a long moment. Then he nodded curtly, but did not change his lineup. With that, he pointed to the court. Maya exhaled and jogged out, the soles of her sneakers sticky against the floor. She took her place behind the three-point arc, ready for the rebound, ready to fight, proving that no sideline belonged to her unless she claimed it with every ounce of her skill. In that moment, Maya understood that this benching was more than a mistake. It was a test, and she vowed, every fiber in her uniform tingling with resolve, that she would transform this unintended slight into the spark that lit her greatest performance yet. The gym smelled of polished wood and sweat when Maya arrived the next morning. The late spring sun slanted in through high windows, catching motes of dust that danced above the center circle. She slipped into her warm-ups and tied her laces twice, each knot a small ritual of focus. Her teammates were already there, Jasmine and Carla lacing their shoes beside her, Aaron stretching at the free throw line, even Coach Marshall pacing near the bleachers, clipboard in hand. The air hummed with the quiet intensity of preparation. Maya joined the huddle just as Coach called out, "Let's run through the baseline out of bounds play." He sketched a quick X and O pattern with a finger on the polished surface of his clipboard. Jasmine, make the fake. Maya, slip under the defender. Carla, pop to the wing. Timing's everything. His tone was clipped, professional. There was no mention of yesterday's lineup or the benching drama. Maya nodded, offering a polite smile, though her heart still throbbed with the sting of not being chosen. She told herself, "This is practice. Tomorrow's game stands on what we do today." "All right, five-man," Coach barked. Maya, Jasmine, Aaron, Carla, and Meredith took their positions. Jasmine inbounded. Carla moved one step left. Maya dipped under her defender with textbook precision. Jasmine's pass was a bullet. Maya caught it and laid it softly off the backboard. The ball kissed the rim and dropped in. Coach's nod of approval warmed her, but she swallowed the urge to smile too widely. Focus, more reps. They ran that same drill a dozen times. Each time Maya finished with a different move, a Euro step, a quick pivot, a jump stop, testing the defense. Afterward, Coach called for defensive slides. Maya felt each muscle fiber wake as she shuffled side to side, palms low, eyes locked on her mirror partner, Carla. On Carla's fake, Maya shifted her weight instinctively and cut off the drive. Carla grinned behind her sweatband and tapped Maya's shoulder in praise. That small touch grounded Maya. She wasn't invisible. She was indispensable. During the water break between drills, Jasmine sidled up to her. Hey, if you ever need to talk," she began, voice gentle. Maya shook her head, retrieving her water bottle. "I'm good," she said softly. "I just want to earn my spot back." Jasmine nodded, reaching up to tweak her ponytail. "You will. You just keep doing you." As practice shifted into scrimmage mode, Coach divided them into two teams. Maya's squad squeaked ahead by 3 points at halftime. In the locker room, steam from the shower room drifted in on humid waves. Maya peeled off her jersey and pressed her forehead to the cool tile wall, letting it draw the ache from her muscles. A teammate handed her a towel and whispered, "You ruled out there." Maya managed a grateful smile. When Coach entered, the room fell silent. "We're making adjustments," he announced. Maya tensed, bracing for another snub. "Carla, you'll start with Jasmine again?" "Maya, you'll come in at the 5-minute mark. We need your defensive energy down the stretch." His eyes flicked to hers, respectful now. "You bring the fire." Maya exhaled, relief rushing in. She nodded once, the weight of the benching lifting just enough to let her feel hope again. That night at home, she laced her cleats by her bedside, neatly arranged on the floor. Her room was a shrine to basketball. Posters of WNBA legends, faded ribbons from summer camps, her worn Nike duffel bag propped against the desk. She sat on the edge of her twin bed and picked up a framed photo of her father in a high school uniform, arm around a teenage Maya beaming with pride. He'd taught her first layup, told her that heart and hustle mattered more than size or speed. She closed her eyes and whispered, "I've got heart." The next day's game was nothing like the last. The bleachers reeled with noise as the Spartans tipped off. Maya entered at the 12-minute mark, chest still tight with nerves but determined. Immediately, she disrupted a pass with a quick steal, her hands so swift the Rockets' guard stumbled, and before he could recover, she was in transition, laying the ball home to ignite the crowd. Her teammates roared, and Coach's smile was unmistakable. Every minute on the floor, Maya poured in everything she had, contesting every shot, corralling every rebound, communicating with teammates. When Coach called her back to the bench at the 5-minute warning, the Spartans led by 7. She slapped high fives all around, beaming, her earlier benching reduced to fuel for her fire. In the final moments, Maya re-entered for the closing lineup. She set a screen that freed Jasmine for a dagger 3, and on the Rockets' final possession, she dropped low and snagged the rebound before anyone else could move. The final buzzer sounded, Spartans by 8, and the gym erupted. Maya rose from her bench amidst cheers, her name chanted by the crowd. Coach Marshall rumbled over and ruffled her ponytail, his pride unmistakable. That night, as she lay in bed with the echoes of the game still buzzing in her ears, Maya felt a quiet triumph. The benching had tested her confidence, but also ignited her determination. In practice, in scrimmages, and under the bright gym lights, she had reclaimed her place. Not through entitlement, but through unwavering effort. And in that moment of victory, she knew that no benching, no matter how unfair, could ever dim the light of her drive. The next morning, Maya arrived at the gym well before sunrise. The parking lot still empty except for a lone maintenance truck. Inside, the echo of her footsteps bounced beneath the high ceiling as she crossed the glossy floor to the far baseline. She knelt to tape her ankles, the familiar ritual anchoring her confidence. Through the window, she could see the sky lighten to a pale lavender, promising another hot spring day. In that hush before the roar of players and crowds, she breathed deeply and rehearsed her goals. Trust her instincts, communicate every possession, lift her teammates. When the first rays of light filtered through the upper windows, Coach Marshall strode in, clipboard in hand, eyes already scanning the court. He nodded awkwardly at Maya, an unspoken acknowledgement of the day ahead. The rest of the team filed in, lacing shoes, practicing free throws, and joking in knots of nervous energy. Maya slipped into her warm-ups and moved to spot Jasmine's drills, crisp bounce counts, and quick passes. As the clock ticked toward tryout time, she felt the familiar tension knot and unknot in her shoulders. Coach called them together and announced that today's scrimmage would determine the final championship roster he'd withheld from her the week before. The starting five had been chosen: Carla, Jasmine, Aaron, Meredith, and a freshman phenom. But 5 bench spots remained. This time, there would be no surprises. Maya would earn her place on merit. The smile Jasmine shot her was both encouraging and relieved. The fight was on. Maya joined the 5 stayers on one end of the court, while the bench players warmed at the opposite baseline. Coach tossed the ball skyward to tip off, and immediately Maya felt the electricity of competition surge through her veins. On the opening possession, she sprinted the length of the court, cutting off a passing lane and forcing a turnover with a quick swipe. Jasmine grabbed the loose ball, raced toward the rim, and scored. Cheers rose, and Maya's heart soared. This was her element. Throughout the first half, Maya dominated both ends. She crashed the boards relentlessly, lunging for rebounds among taller posts, and her hands disciplined the ball in traffic. Offensively, she read defenses with laser accuracy, slipping behind double teams to receive bounce passes, then employing a rhythmic 1-2 step before spinning and releasing a silky pivot jumper. The ball sailed through the net like a whispered promise. Each time she scored, her teammates nodded in respect, the freshman phenom even offering a high five in genuine admiration. During a water break, Coach Marshall blew his whistle. The scrimmage paused as he gathered the group around his clipboard. Maya leaned in, chest still heaving with exertion. "Your energy is infectious," he said, scanning the bench players before landing on Maya. "You push everyone harder, make every play an occasion. But I want to see your composure under pressure." He drew a quick X on the diagram. "Next period. I want you isolating against Carla on the wing. Show me you can thrive even when targeted." Maya nodded, wiping sweat from her brow. She loved these challenges. As Carla took her place at the top of the key, Maya squared her shoulders and got into defensive stance. The whistle blew and Carla dribbled hard to her left. Maya mirrored every move, staying low, feet shuffling, eyes fixed on the ball. Carla faked a baseline drive. Maya bit, then recovered in a fluid motion, keeping her balance. Carla spun back, gloved Maya's hip as she tried to cross over. Maya shifted weight instantly, applying enough contact to force Carla to retreat. The ball popped free. Maya snatched it, rose for a fast break layup, and finished through contact. The simulated crowd, teammates on the sideline, erupted in applause. Carla jogged back laughing, conceding the moment. "You got me," she said, breathless. "That was clinical." Maya exhaled, adrenaline pounding. She had passed the test. As the scrimmage wound down, Coach ran a quick 2-minute drill. Inbound pass, make a layup, sprint back, inbound again. The pace was brutal. Maya hustled with unwavering focus, grabbing every pass, avoiding traps, finishing every time. Her legs burned, her lungs screamed, yet she refused to miss a single shot. When the final buzzer sounded, she collapsed on a sweat-slicked mat, chest heaving, triumphant exhaustion coursing through her veins. Coach gathered the squad for the closing circle. He looked around at every face, bench and starters alike, then locked eyes with Maya. "Tomorrow's roster will be posted at noon," he began, voice resonant. A hush fell. "I want you all to know how impressed I am. Stella, Jamal, Aaliyah, you all fought hard. But tonight, one player showed the consistency, the craft, and the leadership this team needs. Maya Lawson. He paused, and the collective inhalation seemed to echo in their hearts. You've earned your spot back in the starting five. The gym exploded in cheers. Maya felt teammates engulf her in hugs and high fives. Jasmine squeezed her hand, eyes bright. Carla lifted her off the ground in a spontaneous bear hug. Maya laughed through tears, the weight of last week's benching dissolving into pure joy. Later, as the lights dimmed and players filtered out, Maya lingered on the court alone. She traced the three-point arc with her finger, remembering every dribble, every screen, every contested rebound. The benching had cut deep, but it had also sharpened her resolve. She had shown herself, that talent paired with relentless effort and unwavering focus could overcome doubt and prejudice. As she slung her bag over her shoulder and flipped off the lights, Maya whispered a promise to the echoing rafters. This season, this team, would be defined by unity and trust, and she would lead them there, one hard-earned rebound at a time. The next morning, Maya slipped into the gym before anyone else. The polished floorboards were cool beneath her sneakers as she dribbled in solitude, each bounce echoing beneath the vaulted ceiling. The quiet felt sacred, no whistles, no chatter, just the steady rhythm of the ball and the soft hiss of the scoreboard lights cycling through test modes. She practiced her routine shot in the far corner, feet planted squarely, elbow tucked, release smooth as silk. With each swish, she let the memory of yesterday's triumph fill her veins like electricity. And she whispered a promise to herself. Today, the bench was a memory, and this court belonged to her. When Coach Marshall strode in, clipboard in hand, Maya rose and jogged to the center circle. Her teammates, Jasmine, Carla, Meredith, Aaron, followed soon after, exchanging nods of respect and encouragement. The energy crackled with renewed purpose as Coach laid out the plan. A full-court press drill to sharpen their defensive cohesion, followed by a succession of scrimmage scenarios tailored to exploit the opponent's weaknesses. Maya could see the determination in every eye. The benching had given way to a bond stronger than any playbook. They began with the press. Jasmine sprinted the length of the court, weaving around defenders as Maya shadowed her one-on-one. Feet sliding, arms outstretched. Each steal, each forced turnover, was met with Coach's approving nod. The drill pushed them to the edge of exhaustion, but Maya thrived on the intensity. She dropped to the floor to rip a loose ball free, popped up without hesitation, and found Carla streaking to the rim for an easy layup. Together they moved like a single organism, synced by trust and mutual respect. After collapsing to the bench for a brief gulp of water, Maya listened as Coach described the scrimmage. They would simulate a hostile environment, mimicking the rival team's aggressive traps and double teams. Maya's task was clear: keep the ball moving, set decisive screens, and maintain the poise that defined her game. As the whistle blew, the court morphed into a battleground. Maya's first possession came under intense pressure. Two defenders closed in as she crossed half court. With a deft, no-look pass, she freed Meredith in the corner for three. The shot fell cleanly, and her teammates erupted in cheers. Maya allowed herself a brief smile before hustling back on defense. Midway through the scrimmage, Coach paused the action to address a critical moment. A breakdown in rotation had left Jasmine exposed on the wing, leading to a mock fast break that nearly split the defense. Maya stepped forward and suggested a simple tweak. If we rotate one step earlier and communicate "help" as soon as the pass leaves the point guard's hand, we can trap that wing and force a bad shot. Coach nodded, impressed by her clarity, and the team ran the adjustment immediately. The next time the scenario unfolded, Jasmine's would-be defender found herself scrambled, and Aaron swooped in for the easy steal. The smile on Coach's face told Maya everything she needed to know. Her leadership was exactly what the team needed. As the drill wound down, sweat streamed down Maya's face, and she felt the burn in her legs, a testament to her commitment. Coach called them into a tight circle at half court. "That's how winners play," he said, voice echoing off the walls. He looked at Maya and added, "You didn't just reclaim your spot. You elevated everyone around you." The silence that followed carried unspoken acknowledgement. Maya was no longer merely the undisputed MVP. She was the team's heart and mind. That afternoon, they held a late practice at the rival school's gym, an intimidating fortress of red banners and jeering mascots painted on the wall. The stands were empty, but Maya felt the presence of an unseen crowd, a prelude to tomorrow night's showdown. She led warm-ups with infectious energy, jump shots from the elbow, fingertip rolls, pivot drills, The rival coach peeked through the curtain and nodded in respect, whispering to his assistant, "That's one player you don't bench." Finally, coach assembled the team in a semicircle under the bright overhead lights. His gaze swept over each face before landing on Maya. "Tomorrow, when we walk out there in front of a packed house, remember this moment," he said. "You pushed beyond doubt and turned adversity into opportunity. Trust your training, trust each other, and we'll bring that championship home." As they filed out into the dusk, Maya paused by the score table and picked up the game ball, feeling its familiar ridges. She spun it once, twice on her fingertip, then tucked it under her arm. Outside, a lone streetlight illuminated the court's exit, and the night whispered promises of glory and vindication. Maya knew that tomorrow's game would test every ounce of her skill and character. But tonight, under the gentle hum of the gym's ventilation, she felt unbreakable, ready to lead her team from the bench to the top of the podium. The night of the championship game arrived like a storm on the horizon, electric and impossible to ignore. Maya Lawson stepped onto the court at Riverside High under a blaze of floodlights, the chatter of nearly 2,000 spectators washing over her like a tidal wave. The air was thick with excitement. Cheerleaders jolted pom-poms in staccato rhythm. The student section banged drums and banged the pavement with plastic megaphones, and a live band belted out a raucous fight song. Sweat stung Maya's eyes as she tightened her ponytail and laced her shoes one final time. This was her moment. Coach Marshall gave her a nod as he circled the huddle. There was no hesitation in his eyes now, only total faith. Maya inhaled, letting the energy of her teammates settle in her chest. Jasmine pressed a hand onto her shoulder. "Show them who we are," Jasmine whispered. Maya squeezed back, steely calm coalescing around her. The tip-off saw Maya leap for the ball, wresting possession before sprinting down court. She felt her reflexes sharpen, the court narrowing into a single path. In the first quarter, she poured in 8 points, backdoor cut layups and pull-up jumpers from the elbow. Every basket elicited a swell of noise so loud she could feel it reverberate in her ribcage. But it was her defense that truly stole the show. 3 steals in succession, her hands dancing at waist height, her stance impossibly low and quick. Each time she cradled the ball after a turnover, she met her opponent's eyes and nodded. Respect given, assertion made. By halftime, the Spartans led by 6, 34-28, and the locker room pulsed with urgency. Huddled around the whiteboard, the team drank from water bottles and soaked in coach's words. Tighten rotations, communicate screens, push the tempo. Maya towed the line between zones, ready to lead, ready to follow. She felt the hum of adrenaline in her calves and forearms, the same energy that had carried her from bench to MVP contender. The third quarter belonged to the Rockets. A trio of contested threes and a couple of fast-break dunks narrowed the gap to a single point. The home crowd's cheers turned discordant, a tense chorus of disbelief. Maya took a seat on the bench for the first time out. The noise felt suffocating. Coach's voice cut through. "Remember who you are. Remember that nothing breaks a Spartan's will." He leaned in, locking eyes with Maya. "If you see a chance, take it. Rally this team." Back on the floor, the clock began its final countdown. With 4 minutes to play and the score tied at 49, Maya inbounded the ball. The defense bumped her, trying to wear her down, but she dribbled between her legs and rose for a step-back jumper as the defender lunged. Swish! The net whispered approval, and the roar that followed felt like a victory in itself. She sprinted back on defense, tipping away a pass and chasing it down for a breakaway layup. The Spartans were ahead by 3. In the closing minute, Jasmine's dribble drive drew 2 defenders, and she kicked it back to Maya in the corner. Maya squared her feet and launched. Time seemed to slow. The ball arced perfectly, the buzzer's final tick blending with the silence of thousands holding their breath. The rim accepted it, and pandemonium exploded. Teammates swarmed Maya in a whirlwind of cheers and tears. Even the referee raised her arms in salute. After the game, confetti floated in shimmering sheets as the championship trophy was presented. Maya cradled it, its metal cool against her palms, her chest tight with emotion. Coach Marshall touched her shoulder lightly. "You earned this," he said. "In every play, every practice, every doubt you overcame." He looked at the assembled crowd, parents, classmates, scouts, and smiled. This is yours." The victory celebration spilled into the hallway where reporters and cameras flashed. Maya fielded questions. How does it feel to go from bench to MVP? She laughed. It feels like home. When asked what advice she'd give young athletes, she took a breath and said, never let anyone tell you where you belong. Earn your place. Authorization. That night, the empty gym smelled of pine floor polish and sweat. Maya sat alone on the scorer's table, legs dangling, trophy at her side. Through the high windows, the moon cast silver tracks on the bleachers. She closed her eyes, replaying the game, the electric steals, the clutch shot, the exultant roar. The achievement was sweet, but so was the journey. The benching that had fueled her fire, the coach's doubt that had taught her resilience, the team's faith that had lifted her. She placed a hand on the trophy's cool base and whispered a promise. She would lead with vigor and humility, honoring the struggle that defined her triumph. Tomorrow she would return to practice, teach her teammates the lessons of perseverance, and carry the season's lessons into every aspect of her life. But for now, beneath the hush of the closed gym, Maya allowed herself a moment of quiet pride, knowing she had not only won a championship, but had proven that true greatness arises when you turn every obstacle into an opportunity to shine.